Hey there guys. First of all, if you've not checked the build on this thing, please click on the previous video. So this is using Giles Burgess Kite Super All-in-One, which you solder a Raspberry Pi to for it to be fitted into an original DMG Game Boy. And I just realised I did actually buy the attachment for a Raspberry Pi 3, but I just ended up using the Pi Zero for the size. So the Kite All-in-One has built-in Bluetooth and Wi-Fi connectivity, so no need for dongles. It has all the parts necessary for A, B, X, Y, start, select, left and right shoulder and trigger buttons. There's also a connection to add an analog stick too. It has a volume wheel so you can adjust the volume, and also has a 3.5 jack to add some headphones. The great thing with the Kite AIO is that it has an extra button which you use with a combination of another button. For example, holding the extra button and pressing the up and down key on the D-pad turns the brightness up and down. You're also able to turn the Wi-Fi off and disable the speakers. The software that was used is the 4.1 version of RetroPie, but you do have the option of getting your own version and updating the configs according to Giles' website, which I've included as a link in the description below. Actually building the system was fairly simple. Just make sure you read the instructions over and over to get a better understanding before you execute. There are some scary moments with the solder iron where you have to press through to the board onto the other board and you have no idea whether you've made a successful connection. Trust me when I say I was surprised when I saw a video output. There are some little differences between Giles' instructions and what I received as well. For example, I think the connection for the volume and charger was removed, but it's pretty common sense to see where things match up. I also received a 3-pin LED which instead of 2-pin like the instructions. I ended up removing it entirely because it didn't fit in well, but I believe that the LED was used for debugging, so it wasn't that bad that it wasn't there. The biggest pain in the backside was the case. I think the biggest advice for this is patience. Take your time and you shouldn't have any issues. Do also keep in mind you are able to fit in a micro USB charger, so make the hole big enough that it's able to fit a charger in. The biggest issue I had with the case is sticking the studs that closes the case. You probably seen from my previous video, someone commented that the case was looking a little loose and it was sort of coming apart. This was probably the reason. Lining up the studs on the back of the screen was such a pain, and I'd always had to take it off and adjust it again. Very frustrating. And even after sticking it on, sometimes the studs slip away from the glue and doesn't close the case properly, which you can probably tell from my build. So you may have noticed that the X and Y buttons are slightly loose, and also the A and B is ever so slightly loose. This is because firstly I use the SNES controller, which have slightly smaller buttons, and when I was drilling the holes for the X and Y, I drilled it a little too much and made the hole a little bigger than it should have been. But it was still very much playable, even with loose buttons. Also, you may have noticed that the shoulder buttons and trigger buttons have changed from my previous video. I actually went through a few iterations of the buttons to get the right feel, but I ended up with the longer buttons that goes through the case, so I don't have glue on the outside of the case. The screen resolution is 320 by 240. Giles has or will be getting an updated pack that includes 640 by 480 resolution. You don't really notice the quality until you see the small text, so this is probably visible when you're going through the menus and selecting a game. But playing Game Boy, Mega Drive or PlayStation games, you will not see a single issue. The games run smoothly, although I'm having some issues with some of the emulators where the frame rate is terrible, quite noticeably with PlayStation, Game Boy Advance, Neo Geo, Pocket Color and N64. Other than that, other emulators like SNES, Mega Drive and Game Boy runs flawlessly, and it's such a joy to revisit my childhood games. Thanks for watching, guys. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Cheers.